Powell, you and I both agree that as Congress looks to allocate scarce resources, that investment in basic research has great value in terms of translating into the seed corn of future economic opportunity. In that regard, I was enthused by your talk about setting moonshot approach. Can you expand on how setting technology moonshots can ensure the efficient use of taxpayer dollars versus the status quo?
Sure. Thanks very much for the question. So I think we should remember that the sort of energy miracle of this past decade, the shale gas revolution, was heavily influenced by research conducted at the Department of Energy on hydraulic fracturing, horizontal drilling, diamond-headed drill bits. It's very possible the shale gas revolution would not have occurred without that research at DOE in partnership with private industry. And so the question is, how do we produce more of those miracle technologies? In our view, it's very hard to get somewhere if you don't know where you're going. And so one first step is simply to establish the sorts of performance benchmarks that we're looking for new sort of miracle technologies. So what does an advanced reactor look like that would actually be right for today's energy market? So smaller, more modular to build, probably a much lower cost point for energy. And then aligning resources at DOE to overcome the bottlenecks to achieve a goal like that. Again, in the Sunshot initiative, they put a very aggressive, time-based, cost-based goal out there. They broke down every part of the cost of grid-scale solar systems, and they subjected each of those parts of the costs to very rigorous research and analysis and found ways to overcome them and then helped rapidly bring them down. So we think that this kind of approach could be applied to advanced carbon capture technologies, grid-scale storage, advanced nuclear, certainly in the transportation space, and certainly in the industrial emission space as well.
Takes me to the second part of my question. You said that ClearPath engages collaboratively with outside organizations, businesses, and think tanks about the future of energy in this country. And in that regard, can you share with us any insights you have as to examples of moonshots that Congress and the DOE should be considering when it comes to the energy space?
Well, I think one that's low-hanging fruit is grid-scale storage. So we've talked a lot across this hearing about grid-scale storage today. The nice thing about grid-scale storage is actually you have a lot of dollars, a lot of bang for the buck and expanding. So if we were to set a goal of, say, grid-scale storage systems at less than $100 per megawatt hour, that would be a disruptive change, right? It would greatly improve the ability for grid-scale storage to compete with peaker power plants. It would also be very good for the further expansion of solar and wind technologies. And to accomplish a goal like that might only be incremental tens of millions of dollars in appropriations per year. But it's simply having that focus and increasing that level of ambition.
Yeah, what's another example? I mean, you and I have talked about advanced nuclear in the past.
Yeah, certainly advanced nuclear. So if we were to set a goal, a very ambitious performance-based goal to, say, empower the private sector to demonstrate 4 advanced nuclear reactors within a decade, we're actually on track with a number of our programs already, like the Advanced Reactor Concepts program that's working with 2 advanced reactor developers right now, House Energy and the Southern TerraPower collaboration, a molten chloride fast reactor. So we have, and NuScale Power as well could certainly qualify for something like that. So we have a number of horses already in the race, and then this would encourage us to get more advanced reactor developers into collaboration with DOE and hopefully get 4 of those demonstrated.